This final part I'm really excited about. It's called the consequence calculator. We're really, as a team of moms, sat down and tried to think, how can we help moms through this process? How can we help moms to train their children in a way that is more efficient and has a lot of clarity so the child will learn better? So there's 3 parts to this calculator, and you're to use this with your child. Frequency of the misbehavior, mindset when they misbehaved, and risk. How serious is this misbehavior? 3 things you want to think about with your child, because based on the level in each of those, you're going to have to decide how serious of a consequence. If you give the same consequence every time a child misbehaves, they might not be learning, obviously, if they keep doing it again. So let's walk through it with our little guy who gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar. So you walk in and he's stealing the cookies again, and frequency area says, how many times has the same misbehavior happened? Well, if it's the first time, you may just want to talk to him about it. If it's the second or third time, we'll write that score down in the frequency score. Next, you talk to him about mindset. What was the attitude when the misbehavior happened? Was it carelessness, lapse of judgment, intentional, or willfully defiant? I hope you can see the progression there of carelessness is, I'm the big brother and I left the scissors on the floor by the baby. I just forgot to put them away. Lapse of judgment would be an example of, we were out playing with the buddies and we thought about jumping off this ramp and we just didn't stop to think that it would be dangerous. Intentional would be, I knew it was wrong. I wanted to do it. Willfully defiant would be, I did it because I'm mad at my parents, or I'm mad at somebody, or I was mad at my sister. 4 different kind of levels with increasing intensity. The third area, so we have frequency, how many times they did it, mindset, what were they thinking, what was the motive in their mind as they did it. The third area is risk. How risky was this misbehavior? We added this because in simple things where no one's really at risk, you really don't need a harsh consequence because there was no risk. But if there is risk to other people, the consequence needs to be serious and the talk with your child needs to be serious. So under this area, no chance of harm is a 1. Chance of emotional or physical harm is a 2. There was a chance. Nothing happened, but there was a chance. 3, emotional or physical harm occurred. Somebody broke their arm. Something really happened. They were playing too rough. 4, harm affected many people. They had, they misbehaved in a way that affected others. And then lastly, misbehavior was illegal, and at this point, your child's probably a teenager, and it was something that was against the law. So, frequency, mindset, risk. Those are the 3 things you're going to talk about as the child has a consequence. So, you sit down with your child and you say, okay, let's say this is the 3rd time this has happened. That was the frequency. Write that score down. Mindset. What was the attitude when the misbehavior behaved? Well, it was intentional. This is the 3rd time. They knew it was wrong. They get a 3 for that. Mindset score. Risk. You could be all over. It could be a simple thing or not so simple. What was the score? Well, you look at the bottom, calculate seriousness, and this child, 1s and 2s, would be a minor consequence. Like I said, it may be the first time you just talk to them. The second time, you may, put them in the room for a while. The 3rd time, you're jumping to creative consequence. If a child's getting scores of 3s in any of the 3 areas, that means prior consequences did not work, and it's time to get more creative. So the purpose of a creative consequence is to take your minor consequence up a notch. The minor consequence has not been effective. The child is repeating. So you want to find a consequence that directly links in their mind the misbehavior. For a teenage example, let's say your child has a car and they have, it's in the shop, they don't have it. And they keep taking your car without asking. You really kind of don't want them doing that. They need to ask, and really you're kind of even thinking you don't want them driving right now. Maybe they were irresponsible with their car, but the child keeps running out with it. A consequence for that may be, okay, you need to detail and wash my car 3 hours because you took it without asking. Again, that's directly related to them taking your car, and it'll help them think twice in the future. If your child is hitting 4s and 5s in frequency, mindset, and risk, these are major consequences. In this case, I think of a 4 and 5 consequence as a total loss of whatever is going on. In other words, if they're younger and they're playing with friends and they're constantly making unwise choices, maybe it's just one friend that they always get with and they always do something wrong, then you know what? We're going to have to say we cannot play with that friend anymore until you prove to me that you can be a leader with that friend and not keep committing these infractions. An older child, you take away the phone. And it's not a punishment. We're going to not have a phone anymore because your texting is inappropriate. And you don't give really a time that you're going to give it back. You're going to say, you have to prove to me that you have the maturity to handle this again. These are major consequences because at this point, the texting, inappropriate texting may be harming somebody else. It is willfully defiant. You've told them not to do it, and it's happened 3 or 4 times. So this is an example. We're really excited about this at iMom. We think if you print this and you do it with your child, then they will even more clearly know that if they do it again, this paper is on the desk. Mom's going to pull it out again and say, look, we talked about this. You did it again. This is getting serious. What do we need to do so that you'll learn this lesson? I hope this is going to be a really great tool for you. We want to hear about it. I want to hear how it works for you, good or bad. We can always make adjustments, but I think it's time for us as moms to come together and start to work on this in a way that reaps a benefit for our children in the future and helps us to train them in love, in understanding, and with a plan. Okay, so one more thing. There is a way to discipline that's your responsibility, and that comes in your heart and your attitude. We have several great articles about that. The 3 R's of discipline. You may have to put yourself in timeout before you do this because the one thing you don't want to ever do is to discipline in anger. Always in love, always with a clear mind, always ready for no matter how poorly they take it, you're going to stay calm, cool, and collected because you are training them.